All right, let's move on. This is one that's coming out soon. It actually comes out on December 19th. So a little early review here for everybody. And so I was getting people to say, hey, look, have you seen the trailer for Bradley Cooper new directed piece, Is This Thing On? People are sending to me because I did a pilot back in the day. Jonathan, you show footage of this pilot. And it is called Grasping at Straws. And it was essentially about this guy who was in his early 30s late 20s. And he finds out his girlfriend's been messing around with him, becomes a stand-up comedian, and finds his rhythm there. So people are like, hey, this is very similar. Not similar at all, except the fact that it's a stand-up comedy in general. And Bradley Cooper directs this one. Will Arnet is the star of this one. And he's a guy in his early 50s who is basically separating with his wife, played by Laura Dern. And during that time, he discovers stand-up comedy. It's not based in the comedy club itself. There are scenes in the comedy club, but it's really about this guy coming to grips with who he is, understanding stuff about himself, understanding stuff about his wife, the relationship itself. It reminded me more of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind than it did anything that I did. And when I say that, not as far as style and premise, but more so in just really portraying what a real relationship is. And that's what Bradley Cooper's able to do with this. And Will Arnet, who I'm not gonna say I'm not a fan of Will Arnet. I've just never been like, okay, oh man, Will Arnet's in this. I can't wait to check it out. Will Arnet is phenomenal in this. This is the best I've ever seen him. I've become a fan of Will Arnet because of this movie, because it is on him to take you through the journey of this guy to say, all right, here's a guy, and they mentioned this a few times, and I think this is what's really good in the writing, that the character of Alex Novak was a guy that in his early years was the life of the party, the funniest guy in the room, and just became sad. And it wasn't necessarily because of who he married. It was just the choices and things that life brought upon him, and maybe he didn't accomplish in his life and other things, and he became sad. Laura Dern is an ex-Olympic volleyball player, Tess Novak, and she is also going through some struggles and other things within herself. And as they were, again, very good in the writing, showing how they were the couple, and everybody thought that they would be the couple that stayed together forever. Well, that's not the case. They're dealing with this split up. They're dealing with not being happy and understanding it was nothing that either one of them did. It was just one of the things, just not working out. So they're both going on their journey. But it's Will Arnet that you got to watch go through this idea of going, okay, you know what? He goes out, and I think he goes to get a drink one night. He either has to pay to get into this club, or he's got to sign up to do the open mic. So he signs up to do the open mic. And when he's there, he discovers, hey, I like to do this. And I also like, what I really dug about it is and from someone who did stand-up comedy for a very long time, and watching how open mics and other things work, I was right away going, okay, let's see how real this is. He didn't go up there, and he wasn't the funniest guy in the club. Just because you're funny in the room doesn't mean you're going to be hilarious. But he had presence, and he knew how to, and he was developing things. And even the comedians are telling him, like, you're a terrible stand-up comedian, but you're trying, and you're going there. And he catches the bug, and you see that, and you understand it. And I understood it as performing for as long as I did, saying, okay, this is real to me. As they're in the Comedy Cellar and they're discussing, and there's good cameos, like Dave Attell shows up in there too, and the vibe of the comedy club. And you can tell that Bradley Cooper really is like got his claws into New York now, which I love. There's shots of like Grand Central as they're moving through, and they're passing through Grand Central, and there's inside the comedy club, and he really brings it to life, and you can see that. And there's also some really great performances that play into the relationship side of it, that build out their friend circle, whether it's Andra Day, Sean Hayes, and then there's the family side of it, where Ciarán Hinds and Christine Ebersole play Will Arnet's parents, and His mother is more on the side of his ex-wife than she is of his, and the father's basically saying, okay, just get things together. There's really nice moments between Ciarán Hinds and Will Arnet, and it just feels real. And Bradley Cooper also plays a role in this where he's the only one you could tell. And I said this the other day on the show. He did this role to put a little bit more star power and flair into it. You could have put someone else in this role. This role didn't need Bradley Cooper. It was nice to see him when he showed up in it, but he did it because I'm in the movie. I'll take it. I won't have to get really paid for this, but I'll help elevate it because you like to see Will Arnet and Bradley Cooper going back and forth. There's not a lot of like huge, big action. There's a couple times when Will Arnet's on stage and it feels almost like moments of punchline where you're like, ooh, that guy, if that actually happened, I don't know if they'll ever ask him back. But it's a movie, so they move past it. The relationship with his kids works very well. There are times, and I think that this was on purpose, where you're like, Laura Dern's character, Tess Novak, there's something that Will Arnet does for her. And you're like, oh, it's a sweet moment. And she's not happy with it. And you're like, what are you talking about? But then when she explains herself, like, oh, I get it. I get it. But I don't agree with you, but I get it. And I think they do that very well. So this was solid. This is a very solid movie. I'll go, let's go back into the 5 scale, and I'll go 4.4. 4.4 out of 5 for Is This Thing On? I like being in this world as well. So do you guys want to check this one out? Yes? No? Put your thoughts in there and let me know. Okay, so before we move on, I think I'm going to cover I'll cover one more. Maybe one, maybe two, I don't know. We'll see. But before we do, I want to tell you guys about our friends over at, I'm going to tell you about Rougiette, and then I'll be right back. Here you go. Rougiette. I've told you this before. I'm going to tell you again. Let's see how many people know. Can you guess it? What do you get when you have a bald eagle standing on top of a silverback gorilla, and then that is riding on top of a T-Rex? What do you got? Confidence. Pure confidence. That's the kind of confidence that you need in the bedroom for that next level wolf riding beside a velociraptor in a Lamborghini through outer space type of experience. That is right. That's where Rougiette's Go Long comes in. It's not just another ED pill. It's a confidence game changer. Why? Because Go Long combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in one dual-action formula to help you get hard and go the distance. Plus, the effects last up to 36 hours, which means that you're just feeling confident all day, all night, and then some of the next day, too. Getting started? Simple. Connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online at rugiet.com. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly to your door. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? You got to head to rugiet.com and use my promo code Kristian. Get 15% off your first order. That is rugiet.com. Code Kristian. You got to use my code. Why? Well, they know that I sent you.